So today I was working on some history homework, and it kind of got me thinking. Like nowadays, there isn't really any conquest. No country is becoming bigger, becoming exponentially stronger by conquering other land masses. So the question I have for you today is the conquest of territories finally over?
You mean like chess when you make a move and take over a square?
Well, kind of, in a manner of speaking. What I was thinking more is if you take a square from someone else.
Yeah. Right now, the current system, the current global system, the current situation where the planet is, actually, yeah, that's not very likely. You can have it at a smaller scale, where maybe two small countries compete, and Armenia grab a piece of land from Azerbaijan, for example. But on a global scale, similar to what Germany, when Germany in World War II went and conquered and took Poland and France and Western Europe, no. So what happened is, after the World War II, and more lately after the collapse of the Soviet Union, the whole planet built a system where you have so much entangled relationships, where everybody is doing business with everybody. You have a global supply chain, a global commercial network that everybody's participating in. What this does makes the cost of launching a war and invading anybody else is very expensive, because you're gonna lose as a country way more than you're gonna gain by gaining this country. So it doesn't mean it didn't exist. Russia invaded Georgia and kind of took some part of it, but still at a much smaller scale than it used to. It's America is unlikely to go and invade Mexico or Egypt, go take over Sudan and Syria or Palestine and the land that was at one point in history part of Egypt. So this really stopped. It's no longer the case, because now the wealth doesn't come from capturing land. That's a huge thing, and that's really something critical. In the old days, when I take over somebody else's land, I'm taking too much wealth, right? I'm taking land where you have agriculture, where you have livestock, where you have peasant, I can enslave and make them work for me. That was the wealth. But right now, if China invaded Silicon Valley, there is really no silicon in the Silicon Valley. The value of Silicon Valley to China is when the Silicon Valley continue to generate ideas for Chinese companies to make. When you make a war, you lose that.
Yeah.
The war and the instability that comes with it, all the prosperity the peace brings is gone. So when people fight nowadays, everybody loses. It's lose-lose situation, because the value of land itself and conquering the land for the prosperity is much smaller. Maybe you have some competition. I want to grab this piece that have oil well, but that's really insignificant. Now we call it now, and when we play the game Red Nation, we call it information age, right? The power is in the knowledge, is in the information, and you cannot conquer that. You cannot conquer it by war, at least. So you go fight China, go invade America, you cannot destroy all the infrastructure that actually want to acquire. You can acquire it in much different during commerce or exchange, but not by war. And that's why you have little wars. People who fight are the little dumb people who really think that piece of land is all what they need. But really big, strong nation don't really need that much anymore. Maybe little things here, but not the scale what happened in Second World War II.
But couldn't there be kind of like a chain effect? Like, for example, last year in forensics, we had a kind of debate about some contested territory between India, Palestine, and China.
Pakistan.
Pakistan.
It's called Kashmir.
Yeah, Kashmir. So couldn't maybe China's sick of Pakistan and India bugging them, and we're the superpower here. We're just gonna barge in.
So that's a good example, actually. So China is not much part of the conflict as India and Pakistan.
Yeah.
India and Pakistan are really two very strong nations. Both are nuclear nations, right?
Mm-hmm.
These two nations kind of don't like each other for many complicated reasons. That's how so. And they have an argument. Let's say really, and they have minor wars. But that's about that. This country didn't get in a full conflict because they know everybody loses.
Yeah.
So although the area is still disputed, although India still has the policies that Pakistan don't like, although India still accuses Pakistan of supporting separatists who are considered terrorists, but still the countries won't get into a full-blown war because everybody loses. And that is the catch. And that is a deterrent that the global system does, is if I have a system where the cost of a full-blown war or a big war is so high, nobody will fight it. And that's a good example, India and Pakistan. They're not gonna fight each other over Kashmir because both will lose. So maybe every now and then somebody throw a bunch of bullets or a rocket shell falls here or there, but that's about it. Again, because everybody loses. So the key for avoiding conflict is realizing that everybody loses. You wanna win by avoiding conflict. Good question, Mustafa. Till next time.